Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play God of War. Today we are going to be taking on mainly the Dwarven side quests, or at least we'll get started on those. I'm not sure if we'll actually have time to do all those. But also we're going to do this whole underground zone and even come back to the garden behind Freya's turtle home. This place I said that we would get back to in due time last time we were here. Because something that we have now that we didn't have before is the ability to harness and control the winds of hell. And we also just kind of goofed up and missed this last time. This light crystal. We weren't looking too hard for it, since, you know, we would have to come back here anyway. Let's see what we have on the menu.
Boy, over here.
So I think that's, once he gets around to reading it, we're going to move on while he's jotting notes down. I think it's just a little lore entry about, Freya. Frigg and Freya are the same, right? Oh god, I hope I'm not that stupid. Or ignorant of Norse mythology, as it were. And then we have one fairly elaborate puzzle up here, and then a very elaborate Winds of Hell puzzle down in the cave. And this one starts off with the discovery of a sand bowl.
What does it say?
Falcon, hawk, and turtle dove. Swim aloft in oceans above. Huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can actually see the answer more or less from here, but we actually have to go up top to another level to look down on it. Yeah, you could see the runes from the sample that make up the answer. It's just one of them is partially obscured, so you need a higher vantage point to see all of it.
Here, boy.
Atreus? Ah, there you are.
Oh, the rest of the runes were hidden over the hill. That's Vinder. When?
Back to the sand bowl.
And unfortunately, we have to come up here twice, since we need the Winds of Hell, and we need to do the sand bowl puzzle first to get the first taste of the Winds of Hell. Oh, and then we have this as well, which, oh, there's a really specific spot I need to stand at to trigger that dialogue.
Lord of the Hang.
That's talking about Odin. He's known by many names. Not all of them nice.
As many names as there are winds, as many titles as there are ways to die. He is Odin.
Draw it.
Sir. Vinder. Look what it did!
Reforms this cool arch, gives us access to a chest with, I think, a runic attack. No, I'm sorry, not a runic attack, a runic summon, the stag one. Oh, the Storm of Elks. I don't think I've seen this. And then there's also a wind trap for the Winds of Hell. I don't remember where the Winds of Hell are. I don't think we go back up here yet. Are they? Oh yeah, they're on the other side of the arch. Herp diddly derp. So we'll grab the Winds of Hell here and dump it off in the wind trap on the opposite side of the arch. Then we go up top. And this will be so we can open up a Nornir chest up here. Any excuse to spend in this backyard area, though. Oh, it's the best. These blood red leaves. Jesus, this area is so defined. We're gonna grab the Winds of Hell again, and where is the next wind trap? It is right here. And there's also a raven. Okay, so this one, you can see what it's doing is it's rotating the rune on the column. But we also need to put it in here to light up the chest so we know which runes go where. And in this case, hitting this will turn both of these, And that's the correct set of runes up top. And then we need the one that looks like a B from the one that rotates when you insert the Winds of Hell. And because it's on its side, the points need to be facing down. That one. So we take the Winds of Hell again, so it doesn't rotate anymore. And we have everything that we need. We just put the Winds of Hell back here, so they don't automatically go back to the last pillar they were in, the last wind trap. And there is our Apple of Adun. The apples, I believe, were pointed out to me a long time ago in the comments, that gave the gods the immortality. Their immortality, I should say. They're just ordinary apples. And now we can go back down into that underground cave area. And it is, at this point in the game, once the water has been lowered several times and you have all these upgrades, it's a really expansive zone with quite a significant puzzle threading through it. Which is what makes this one cool to do, which I think makes it worth doing. Just to see how elaborate this single puzzle is compared to so many other ones in the game. They made a concerted effort to really, I think, dumb down the puzzles in the main game. But in the optional quests, you get some spark of some of the harder puzzles from the previous games. I think they found that in their both in their internal place testing of the original trilogy, as well as their the metrics they got once the game was live, people had a lot of trouble with some of the harder puzzles in the original 3 games, so they did intentionally tone them down for God of War 2018, which is kind of a shame. But I see the logic.
Yes.
Doesn't seem heavy.
So Atreus is still recovering, and he seems a little bit sullen. Actually, he seems quite down. Going by the conversation he had with Mimir last time, where he didn't really want to speak up all that much. He wasn't confident in himself like he usually is. Wasn't giving confident answers to things that he knows pretty well. We'll interrogate that in a little bit. Now we move that out of the way, not just to get the soft Svartalfheim steel, but also to create a platform so that when we get the Winds of Hell from this wind trap, we can come... Oh god, get out of the way. Just wasted like 2 seconds. So we can come down here, and we have a little bit of extra room so we can reach this wind trap with our Blades of Chaos. Otherwise, you don't have the room to reach that if you don't push the big platform, the block over the ledge. That also lets you step out here, and you can just barely glimpse one of the crystals that you can shoot with the Light of Alfheim to create a light bridge. There are 3 of these, just that one is obscured. And we also need this bomb plant, the Shatter Crystal, I think they're called, in order to open this chest up. So they're really making you use everything that you have here. There is a good reason why I waited until we had everything to really bother doing anything in this area. And then we also have this seal. That's 2 out of 3 now, with the other one we broke before we started climbing the well. And we'll open that Nornir chest in a second. We need 1 more Shatter Crystal. And that is to climb up there where the last seal is, and where the next leg of the Winds of Hell puzzle for this area lies. And we also have another one of Odin's hidden chambers. So we'll, in an intermission, come back here and clean up the remaining 6, I want to say, Valkyries, and then in... a proper episode, we will just have the fight against the Valkyrie Queen. And there's our final seal. So already, what, our second Nornir chest of the day? Should have one or two more ahead of us. There are a couple of Nornir chests, which are far out of the way, and we don't come across them during some of the side quests we're going to do, so you're just going to leave those alone. And hey, another Rage of the Gods upgrade. Yeah, so we probably won't be maxing our Rage and our health out, just because it's not necessary or super worth my while to go out of my way to do all that stuff, even on my own time. Then we have some Hell Bramble. I think that's the only instance of this, and some witches. Some really low-level ones who just get ruined by the combo of the shock arrows and the blades of chaos. It's nice. It's nice just melting these girls. Oh, love it. And is there another one? It must be. Yeah, there's one more. Get out of here. Trying to do puzzles. And go to the moon and do the other thing. So next up, we're going to move this pushable block about halfway between the two platforms. The goal is to be able to leap from one side to the other, and then from this platform to the other side. I think that should do it. We want it about dead center. Now we still have another thing to do before we go climbing. You can see the wind trap, and conveniently, the winds of hell that we set up earlier are over here now. So we're going to place this here, climb up, and grab the winds of hell again, and then hopefully go leaping across if we place the block correctly. Yeah, I didn't do that earlier. Should still have enough time. Yep. So it's not exactly the biggest brain teaser, but it's still a considerable amount more complicated than any of the other puzzles in the main game. What is this one? Oh, this is just a combo. Oh, cool. I think the combo gets a little bit more elaborate when you level this up. Plus, obviously, more damaging. More of the burn damage over time. And finally, we have the sand bowl.
What does it say?
Another riddle. Feed me not, we both are doomed. Overfeed me, all consumed.
The answer might be near, like the other.
I see it now. It says fire. Of course. Bow.
And carving the rune into the sand bowl causes this platform to become an elevator, so we can get down to this chest. And that's what this was all for, was for the Murder of Crows runic summon. So we got the elk and the crows now. And since we still haven't seen the elk, I'm not going to change out for the crows just yet. I think I'm still favoring the wolves, though. Also, feeling like we may have missed something because we hit the elevator button before we had a good glance around, so we're just going to jump over once again. Just to make sure. Got the Winds of Hell for that. No, it looks like we're all good here. So we can start heading back. And then we'll get back on the boat, and we will sail around the Lake of Nine, doing favors for the brothers Brock and Sindri. We grabbed the Nornir chest. Probably should have gotten that on the way back. Oh well. We have built our rage up.
Ah, see? The boat washed ashore. Someone did call a serpent earlier.
Get in. I will pull. You are quiet. Are you not better?
I guess.
I know you overheard my talk with Freya. You think you understand, but you do not. Why do you say nothing?
You said I was cursed. You think I'm weak because I'm not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
You do not know everything, boy.
No. But at least I know the truth now.
The truth. The truth. I am a god, boy. From another land far from here. When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. But the truth is, I was born a god. And so were you. Boy, have you nothing to say?
Can I turn into an animal?
Can you turn into an animal? No. No, I do not think so.
I'm a god. Mother knew? She was a god too?
No. She was mortal, but she knew my true nature.
I'm a god. Why did you wait so long to tell me?
I had hoped to spare you. Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy. That is the curse.
What sorts of things can I do? Can I fly? Or turn invisible? I don't feel like a god.
I do not know the reach of your godhood. But over time, we will learn.
You sure I can't turn into a wolf?
You are welcome to surprise me.
Is this why I hear voices sometimes? You sure you've never heard any?
Not as you do.
That's no surprise. Every god is unique.
So, maybe I won't get strong like Father, but I'll have abilities all my own?
You already do, laddie. Your faculty for language is extraordinary for one so young. Time alone will tell what else you'll become capable of.
So you knew all along?
I did, lad. But I've known more than my share of gods.
Me too, apparently. I wonder who else knew I was a god. Freya for sure. Brock and Sindri?
They do not need to know.
Baldur! Does he know? Is that why he's after us? Do you know him from before?
The day of your mother's funeral was the first I ever saw Baldur. That is the truth.
Hey, we don't have to go right back to Tearsvault, do we? I mean, we're God. We can do whatever we want, right? What do you really feel like doing right now?
I will show you.
That confessional moment, and Kratos setting Atreus' mind at ease, is so good. Also harkens back to something that was said really early on, like around when the game was first revealed, about how the philosophy going in was that Kratos treats godhood as a disease that he doesn't want to pass on to his son.
Knowledge keeper. She was a gifted sorceress who gathered every tome of arcane wisdom she could find in the realms, all in the hopes of augmenting her powers of prophecy, that she might find her lost husband, Arvandil. It was not her husband she would glimpse in her visions, for it was Groa, seeing longer and farther than any before or since, who witnessed Ragnarok, the end and the beginning. When Odin caught word of her ultimate prophecy, he maneuvered to obtain her knowledge and hoard it for himself. Groa knew Odin as a long-time patron of her services, and so she welcomed him into her library as a friend. What she did not know is that Odin himself was behind her husband's disappearance, having used his enchantments to conceal his death at Thor's hands from her sight. Smiling, jealous Odin took her by the throat, and with his very hands he stole her library and her life for his own.
I always knew Odin was bad, but that's just...
Ruthless, barbaric, heartless? That's Odin. In fact, we would do well to sit here in silence for the next few moments and reflect on Odin's capacity for cruelty. And so...
Reflect longer.
So we are going to start off heading into Fafnir's storeroom to do Sindri's side quest. Also, note this elevator here. This is only here because they needed a way to get you back on this level once the lake drains for the second time. Otherwise, there's a boat dock around here so that you can do this side quest before you've progressed the story to this point.
Do you think that Fafnir went to Alfheim too?
I do not know.
Aren't you curious? He sounds interesting.
We go to the storeroom to collect anything useful for our journey, not to learn more about the dwarf.
Fafnir was a rather interesting fellow, little brother. Perhaps I'll tell you a story one day.
Yas, teach us about Fafnir.
Poor Fafnir. There's a fine line between ambition and greed, you know.
Oh, no, we can't forget you.
I might have some dialogue about the upcoming area. But no. So you know what else I've been dying to talk about? How this game is one single long take. And this is maybe something that you didn't even pick up on when you were playing the game. Maybe you didn't notice that there was never ever a single camera cut.
Uh-oh. They must have gotten here first.
At least not an apparent camera cut. But I want to talk more about the craft of the long cut and why they're employed, like what their function is to the story that's being told. Because they're obviously hugely technical achievements. Like a single unbroken uncut take. You can fudge it a bit, but even when you can employ these tricks to cut without making the cut noticeable, it still takes a lot of planning. So when you see these shots in shows and movies, that alone, like the craft of it, should really wow you. But there's usually a reason that they're used beyond just being flashy. Sometimes it is just for the wow factor. But, oh man, an example of why cuts like this work. My favorite example of a long cut. From one of my favorite movies, no less. The Copacabana scene from Goodfellas. It is a 3-minute long, long take, uncut 3 minutes, Henry strolling into the Copacabana club, and he is on top of the world through this. You know, he goes through the back, he doesn't enter with everyone else. He's reaping the benefits of his dream to be a gangster. It's brilliant. It's such a good shot and such a good scene. And then you get everything that comes after that everybody loves, all the iconic lines. But that lead up into the Copacabana is so fucking good. Essays have been written about it, about how strong that scene is. and how it's this microcosm of the whole story that's contained within those 3 minutes. It's just this perfect setup for his fall. And they had to shoot that scene because the nightclub that they were filming at made them go in through the back. They couldn't enter through the front and film. And Scorsese saw a metaphor in that. He saw it as being a privilege for Henry. You know, it's a shortcut. He didn't have to go in the front with everyone else, with all the rabble. He had special access. He had it all. And for that 3-minute long tracking shot, they had to do 8 takes. They had to do that 8 times to get it right. For 3 minutes. 3 minutes of footage. And that 8th take almost got ruined at the very end. I think you can hear someone laughing in the middle of it. But it's just kind of mixed in with the noise of the club. So it didn't blow the whole thing. Sorry, this is one of my favorite movies, and this is one of my favorite shots in it. Hold on. Oh, it's so good.
Looks like the Reavers made it inside. I hope they didn't take all the treasure.
And that's what it added to the film. It added this sense of privilege for Henry. So there are narrative and logistical concerns with long takes that make them feel special. Like, logistically, it's obviously way harder to get everything lined up perfectly for a continuous ongoing take. The actors have to nail everything, including delivery, their blocking, all of this for a sustained time. Like a lengthy time. But also the shot composition, the lighting needs to be all tightly rehearsed to make it all viable.
Keep your expectations low, boy, and you will never be disappointed.
And it's different from doing scenes in multiple takes. It's logistically much more demanding. Ah, he didn't go over the edge. He kind of warped back on. And there are narrative reasons to do or even not to do that. Even if you can, it's not something...
Exactly.
It's not something you always do just to do. I remember watching a really great video essay called What Long Takes Can't Do about this. And again, it uses a really good example of something that you need editing to do. And again, it's from Goodfellas. Fucking love that. I get to talk about Goodfellas so much in this episode. It's narrative juxtaposition. And the example that they use is the scene where they keep cutting back and forth between the hit and the baptism. Oh god, I forgot these guys scale. These guys scale, and he is level skull. But yeah, it's the multiple rapid cuts back and forth between the hit and the baptism. And it creates a really strong juxtaposition. What I'm saying is there's a time and a place for different types of shots. For long cuts and for you know, editing to speak. For the editing to speak for the film.
I hope they didn't take Cinder's whetstone.
And long takes in games, that's kind of a weird subject, right? Because even though games use a lot of similar techniques to film because of how similar...
Maybe we'll even find the whetstone.
Remember what I told you about expectations, boy.
Keep them low. I remember. Still, good feeling.
Atreus' optimism, speaking of juxtaposition and this hardened cynicism from Kratos is always so good. Yeah, because of how similar like films and games are as a medium, them both being visual storytelling mediums, and a lot of the language of films still applies with respect to like shot composition. You don't get discussions like this that often for games. Like, what the camera is conveying about the game specifically. what does the camera add to the narrative? And there's a few reasons for this. One, that games are still a pretty young medium, and storytelling is, even now, still maturing in games. And that means that using the language of the camera is still maturing. Those two evolve hand in hand. But traditionally, it's not as much... Oh, god damn it. Why did I push him so far away? Yeah, traditionally, not as much thought has been put into that, even with, like, cutscene direction. You know, it can seem really haphazard the way cutscenes are directed. And that's changed over the past couple of years. More thought has been put into, like, the language of the camera.
So much for my good feeling.
But traditionally, that hasn't really been the case. And then a lot of people are also, like, a lot of people who criticize games are also not super well versed in that kind of critical vocabulary that you find film critics more attuned to, like what the camera is saying and what the editing adds to the mix. That and games are a distinct medium. Like, not everything in film necessarily applies. You have to balance the functionality of the camera for the gameplay and gameplay purposes with what you're saying in regards to narrative.
I saw.
So I should keep my expectations low, but always expect an attack?
It is a delicate balance. Expect the worst, assume nothing, and always anticipate an attack.
Sure is a lot to remember.
Oh, that's so good. This is why I love the dialogue in this part. This is what makes this one worth doing. Hey, you have to... Yeah, speaking of balance, like, they balance the functionality of gameplay and the camera in gameplay and what they are trying to get the camera to say about the game and its story or its narrative. And games are often divided into, like, the story parts, which is like cutscenes or walking and talking, and the play parts, which isn't the most elegant, but it's typically how it's done.
Still no whetstone. And only one room left. I know I shouldn't hope, but you think we'll find it there?
No.
Wow. Just crush that hope. And a lot of games use quote-unquote long takes, not necessarily like God of War, where there's never a cut, but like their games are almost always just series of long takes strung together. In a technical sense, because it's often gameplay for long stretches until you cut to like some kind of cutscene or something. God of War not only uses a long take, the entire game is one. And even though the way motion capture acting is done allows them to alleviate some of the logistical problems of film, like lighting, composition, you can technically do multiple takes with the actors and seamlessly make that into a long take in production. You have all of these things that seem like advantages, but there are new and different logistical problems.
My corpse, you ungrateful little... who are you two?
We're looking for a whetstone. Have you seen it?
Aye, there was one in this room. My son sharpened his dagger on it, right before stabbing me in the back.
What?
Little bastard thought it was his turn to lead my crew. I was hard on him, sure. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. I did the same thing to my dad when I was his age.
He killed his own father?
Where is he now?
Ha! He may be a bastard, but he's my bastard. You'll get no help from me, fool.
Then his dagger will help.
Hey! That's mine! Hey!
Come, boy. We are leaving.
The language of the camera. What it's showing you right as Atreus is speaking in disbelief about his son killing his father. Fucking pitch perfect. Oh, and this is why I love when we can just stun one immediately and take the other out with him. This makes this go smooth as silk. But, like, what is this all leading to? Narrative decisions. Why did God of War choose to do this? Fuck, this is really good, actually. Why did God of War choose to do this over telling the story with camera cuts? Part of it, I think, was just to show that it can be done. I think that is part of it. I don't think that's the only reason, though. In fact, I'm sure of it. Proving to themselves they could accomplish this monumental feat. Something that hasn't really been done, or I think even attempted before. But there was purpose in that attempt, in what they were going for. There was a goal, and a story for the camera to tell. And the idea was to make things feel relentless and to establish this unbroken, intimate connection to the characters.
Over some treasure? Seems so greedy.
Remember what I told you, boy. Assume nothing.
Well, sure. You didn't seem like a great father, but...
You only know half the story.
Yes.
The same kind of nearly unbroken connection you get between Atreus and Kratos. And to that end, I think, well, there are plenty of arguments that have been made that having this singular unbroken camera fails the narrative in some way or hampers it. And I'll actually admit, I think it might... in my head, this is a really strong idea that the only time you have a cut in the game is after Atreus falls ill and Kratos is separated from him. Conveying that with the editing, I think, would be really strong. But hey, that's one perspective on it.
Well, what did you think of Fafnir's storeroom?
We found no whetstone. This dagger belongs to the Reaver who took it.
They took most of the good stuff.
Oh? Well, here, take this, in exchange for the dagger. The dagger
We got ourselves a time stop amulet.
you brought me is quite interesting. An artless design, but the construction is sound. Where in the temple did you find this?
In a Reaver's back.
Ugh. Oh!
He mentioned he was part of a larger clan. Maybe they took the whetstone?
Quite possibly. I know I've seen this design before. I have a favor to ask. Just a small favor, really. Do you remember the dagger you gave me?
The dagger stabbed into the Reaver's back? His own son killed him? Yeah, I haven't forgotten that one.
Well, I traced it to a group of Reavers that operate out of the Northry stronghold. I'd wager that's where they took their haul from Fafnir's storeroom, along with that whetstone that I could use to help you.
Another treasure hunt? Pointless.
Well, not if Sindri really can make us better equipment with that whetstone. Plus, the Reaver's son. He murdered his father.
Cool, so we have a follow-up quest from Sindri, which I think we're going to go take care of now.
Here.
And then you can kind of see the same formula brewing for Brock and his side quests, which, judging from this, you might guess that he might also have a follow-up for his own, and we have been going for about 40 minutes. Family Business is the one that we really, really want to complete, though. I think that's the one that leads to the thing that I'm real interested in. Either way, we'll probably do all three of those. Family Business, and then both of Brock's.
Fred, you are full of stories. When will you tell one that entertains?
I beg your pardon?
He just insulted you.
Yeah, I got that. So you want a corker, do you? Very well, my brothers. I'll tell you the story of Hrungnir, the brawler. The real story.
There was a huge battle, right? His shrine had him in the middle, fighting off Aesir.
A pretty story, but no. Hrungnir, you see, was born with neither head nor heart, so the giants had to complete him with stone. He was strong, to be sure, but also a perfect simpleton. Odin met him wandering in Midgard one day, found him so amusing, so harmless, so gullible, that he invites him back to his palace in Asgard. There he gives Hrungnir his fill of mead, and goads him into all manner of boasts and antics, all for the amusement of the court. I was there. I saw the Aesir laugh as Hrungnir leapt upon his shield and swore he'd kill us all and take our womenfolk back to Jotunheim. Then Thor shows up. And does he laugh? Oh no. Thor takes one look at the drunken stone buffoon and brings down Mjolnir on his head so hard that he's got chunks of Hrungnir in his own skull to this day. Thor is so startled by the face full of rock, he doesn't notice Hrungnir's body topple right onto him with a sickening crunch. And again, the roars of laughter echo through the palace halls.
That's an awful story, Mimir. Nothing like the ones Mother told me.
Let that be a lesson, my son. Truth is seldom so pretty as myth and legend.
That was horrifying. We are just going to get to the entrance of the next side quest zone, and then probably call it a day.
Once you retrieve the whetstone, please take utmost care while handling it. It is a priceless relic, after all.
Alright, we'll start this one up next time. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.